Zoid Rush Video. I'm your host, TM Zoids, also known as Tony, and today we're going to be talking about New World. Yes, Merry Christmas, I'm back. I don't know when, or randomly posting videos, and you get a nice Christmas special, you know? Isn't it beautiful? Before we get into the topic. Anyways, MMOs they're back. They're fresh. They're new. And they're because New World is out and Final Fantasy. Oh my God, the MMOs are back and they're coming with a vengeance. That's what they said, at least, right? So we're gonna start here. MMOs are back, just like this. See, articles are released like this all the time with New World. New World being the big one here, and of course, you know, them talking about World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy and blah 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 blah. Right? The end of WoW. The end of WoW. The WoW killer. You never found a WoW killer, by the way. Never happened. But anyway, WoW killer itself. But that's besides the point. Back into the topic. New World. So just a little quick disclaimer. I was not a fan of New World. That's right. Surprise, surprise. I was anti-New World before I bought the game. And then luckily I got gifted the game, so now I can talk about the game, right? Because clearly, anytime somebody's like, well, you can't comment on this because you haven't even tried it. You haven't even liked the game. You haven't even given it a chance. And to that, I tell you, yeah, you're right. You're right. Anyways, to continue on, I'm going to try and not be as biased or give a, strictly one negative opinion. Probably going to be more negatives than positives, in my opinion. But to each his own, right? So first things first, let's talk about the actual cost. I think that's where we should all start. For an MMO, $45, $40, give or take, is not bad. I think they'll probably see a surge actually coming up Christmas. People are going to get probably Steam money, or people might have asked for New World for younger kids. So there might be a surge of popularity in either New World or Final Fantasy, either one. New World took, rage. Everybody was talking about it. It was like, New World, oh my God, this is a great MMO. MMOs are back. This is the type of MMO I've been waiting for. Woo! Right? Articles, like I said, were posted. But for an MMO with no subscription, $45 is actually really reasonable. I don't think it's overpriced, especially what you get for the game. Do I feel the game was rushed? I will probably say yes, but I'll go into that later on. So, that being said, $45, you get the game, boom. You get all the content, you don't have to worry about it. There's no patches, no sub fee. You get it, you got it. Beautiful, wonderful. I got it as a gift, gratefully. You are giving more money to Amazon, so if you're anti-Amazon, you just gave them an extra $45, let alone anything else you probably spend on Amazon or Twitch or that sort. To continue on, the next cool thing, or what I really enjoy about the game, is that you're not locked into a class. You don't load up the game, and all of a sudden you're like, you have to pick, and you're just sitting there like, well, do I want to play a mage? Do I want to do this? It's straight character design. I'm not too focused on this. If you really like character design, I believe they have a lot. They go into the detail of the scarring and the facial features and the veers and this and that. I've never been a huge character design person. Some overdo it, some underdo it, some right there. I think New World's right there. I didn't have really a problem. I just kind of created a character that I enjoyed looking at, even though you don't even see the face of them usually. You see the back of them, so it is what it is. But you get in, and everybody, of course, starts with a sword, but you don't have to start with a sword or play with a sword at all. So from level 1, pretty much, or maybe level 2, depending how fast, level 1 or 2 to 60, you can play whatever you want. If you want to pick up a staff for a fire mage, you can play fire mage. If you wanted to pick up an ice gauntlet, you could play ice. All kinds of things. Now, of course, there's stipulations to that. The one and only being, yes, you're probably going to be kind of locked in, especially if you're leveling up certain things. So if you decide to go with mage early on, you're going to probably focus on gear, intellect gear, and that specific gear set for mages. And that's another thing you want to keep in mind. Because, one, it kind of makes sense. You kind of want to follow suit, and do the damage you want to do. And 2, you want to pick your attributes. So one thing is the gear, which would be light gear, and then your attributes would be intellect. Of course, you can respec this and get other gear or save other gear on the other side. So that is also cool. Also, you get the cool thing of dual weaponization. Yeah, that's right. You can carry 2 weapons. That's right. Not just one weapon, but 2 weapons of your choice. So what the heck? Why not just be a mage that carries a sword? That's simple enough, if that makes sense to you. Probably not want to do that, but you could. But usually I'm full on mage. I'm letting you know right now. I'm a fire mage and I'm an ice mage. I played to level 48 so far, just to keep in mind here. So that was a cool thing. Combat system, which I'll go into a little bit deeper on the negative side, I'm sure. But the combat system is very simple, simplified, very, very simple in my opinion. You got Q, E, and R. Those are your main abilities when you pick them, whatever you decide to choose. And then, of course, you have W to walk. But so you got the typical core, and pretty you gotta aim everything, of course. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Even your auto attacks are aiming. It's not like you tab onto a target and you just do your abilities. You actually have to aim your Q, your E. Well, depending what you are, you have to aim them. If you're melee, not so much, of course. If you're a mage, I have to aim most of mine. Well, not really. Just the fire portion of it, to be honest with you. Of course, how can we not talk about an MMO if an MMO is not beautiful? This MMO is breathtaking. I believe is one of the more beautiful MMOs, and it is something that I think, kind of encourages you to go outside, which is ironic in itself. It's like, it's got the mountains and the in-depth scenery to it and the woodsy area and just you could look into the back of the scenery and just get lost in the ambiance. It kind of reminds me of World of Warcraft in a way. Is that World of Warcraft was a fantasy world in sorts. Azeroth's not real, of course. Neither is New World. I mean, New World's based off of, fantasy in a way. But you had, of course, just that wow factor. That like you log in, you're like, whoa. And you're looking around and you're just like, wow, this is beautiful. The different colors and wow. I'll never forget the first day I logged in WoW. Never. I picked a Night Elf Hunter, looked in, and just the purples and the blues and the night sky and just looking around, just the starting area, and you're just like, holy shit, this game is beautiful. It is the colors and just everything, the small intricate details and the spiders that you fight right off the bat that you have to kill and the beginning quest. And the same thing with New World. I mean, you don't really start off with like, wow, you log into the scenery. It's kind of like you're in a battlefield and you're kind of on this beach. And you're like, what the fuck happened? But once you start exploring New World, there are beautiful areas and beautiful sceneries. And I guess you could say that for every MMO, but some MMOs hit the mark, some MMOs don't. This one hit the mark. I think it's a very beautiful, gorgeous game, stunning looking game. And then, yeah. As I said earlier, you can dual spec. You can also, the combat system's awesome. Much simpler. When I think about it, I think of a reskinned Arcade game. That's just my opinion. I know somebody's like, you can't compare MMOs like that, but it reminds me a lot of Arcade. You had to buy a house or get a house, and in Arcade you had a plant and you had cars, but in New World you didn't have that. You just had, normal stuff. Sorry, I don't know. Kind of like stuffy, not really. I don't know. It's the weather. It's the weather. But anyway, to continuing on with the combat system now, I think one of the few things that New World did, it did revive a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of hype around it. The creators or the content makers of New World are releasing patch notes and constant updating the game. I just want to keep that in mind. There are some flaws with that, some good and some bad with that. Of course, they are pumping out content like crazy, like every week or every other week. They're pumping out like new patches, bringing out new stuff. And some of the stuff, it should have already been in the game, which we're going to go into the negatives, I guess. The negatives for me, starting with the combat system, going back to the combat system, so you could dual weaponization, which is cool. but there's no way to like toggle them both at the same time. There should be like a combination button or a combination of doing both or using both at the same time or kind of swiftly transitioning to one. You're pretty much stuck in one, to be honest with you. So if I'm on a fire staff, I'm doing my fire thing. If I'm done with my fire spells, I just have to press 2 and switch over to my other ability and start using my other abilities. I think they should implement or think about implementing something that you can combine the two since you're dual wielding anyway. And you don't even have to have both fires, both intellect stuff. If you're holding a sword or a hatchet, maybe throw the hatchet, or if you're carrying a gun, you got the throwing the gun, right? Also, like I said, when it comes to the combat system, you can play whatever class you want. You can respec at any time. You're not stuck in those things, which is really cool. But some of the things with the combat system, first things first, when it came to me, when I played a mage, especially at the lower levels, I noticed this a lot. So when I had to aim and I'm still slow, I'm like aiming up my pillar of fire, right? And it's right under the zombie looking thing, and it's just under him 100%. He's glowing blue because he's right in the middle of the circle, right? And I'm like, Fusroda! Right? I throw it, and guess what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. That's right. Absolutely nothing. Does no damage, takes my cooldown, and this has happened multiple times. It's really noticeable on ledges and stairs, especially in some areas, and in houses. It will just whiff. I'll catch aggro over the thing that I'm fighting, and now my ability's on cooldown. I'm running around, and I'm just like, what is happening? Now I have to wait, because that was like my main damage ability. Pillar of Fire did like 20%, 25% of its damage. Even at higher levels, it's still doing tons and tons. It's like your main damaging ability. It does tons of damage. But when it whiffs and doesn't do anything, and this is multiple times, this is a common glitch. I don't know why, but it seems to be constantly happening. And throughout my, I hit the mic there, throughout my experience with New World. Houses, and like I said, elevation, we'll come back to that specifically, elevation thing. But in houses, I would hit my ability, whoosh, and it's a 2-level story house, and somehow every time I used an ability, fire-wise or ice-wise, it would aggro the whole house. It's somebody on the top floor, on the second floor, that I do not even see or visualize or anything. I do my Pillar of Fire, and you would think, okay, the Pillar of Fire is shooting up, so it hit it, right? Well, they come down and aggro me, and they have no damage. They're not tagged with anything. Nobody's running by. Nothing. Nobody's around me. Nobody's hit it. I didn't hit it. I didn't do any damage to it. I'm not in its vicinity or aggro. I don't think I'm in its aggro. And it's aggroing onto me. So now I have 2 to 3 guys fighting me, and I'm a mage. I'm squishy and soft. It's just a pain. It's like, what? Why does this happen? When it comes to the elevation thing, specifically, in New World, there's an ice, circle, blizzard, I guess you could call it. And you kite people through it, and they're slow, and the more enemies that are in it, there's an ability you can do more damage, right? So you're like, cool, perfect. You can kite a bunch of them, and it actually does lots of damage. Takes a lot of damage over time. And you can freeze part of your other abilities, like you throw an ice shower down and freeze them in place for a second, and then set up a combo. Basically, you want to do the Q, and then freeze them in place, and then while they're frozen in place, switch to your fire staff, throw the Q down for that, which is your Pillar of Fire, and then your dot, which is your incinerate or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. But, and then by then they should be dead or almost dead, right? Worst case scenario, then you can do another fire thing. But the elevation thing is a problem on stairs and everything. And even if there's an elevation in the land in certain areas, you end up whiffing your ability completely. It's like it misses. And especially that's ice storm, like I said. So if you're on this elevation and you have the land here, and there's this little elevation, there's this slope notch here, and you're too far over with your ice thing, and most of the circle's down here, right? So here's your thing, and part of the circle's up here, and your circle is mostly down here, and you're trying to kite them through it. It does no damage, and it's only up in this little tiny area that it's doing it. It doesn't happen often. It's only in certain areas where there's glitches, like little ledges that you can climb up, or stairs that you're climbing up, but you can jump down, right? So it's easy to get up and down yourself. Of course, they walk all the way down. Just a pain in the ass. It really, it needs to be fixed. It shouldn't, especially with the big AoE circle, it should hit if it's on the bottom, on the top. It doesn't matter if it's hitting it. You're in it. You should hit it. I don't know if it's coding error. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, right? So, going off of that combat ordeal, the also frustrating thing for me is I still have to carry mana pots. I'm level 48, and I still have mana problems. It doesn't help. My trees are maxed out pretty much. I'm missing 1 or 2 points in ice, and I'm missing 1 or 2 points in my fire staff, and I am having mana trouble all the time. And there is an ability for your ice tomb to get mana back, but then you have them beating on you, and you're trying to just gain mana back. You don't get health back. You're just getting mana back, and then it kind of shoots them back if you shoot it out in time, which is not always the case. But it's just a pain. It's like, what the heck, dude? It's like, come on, really? And I really have mana trouble when you can't use both. That's when I really have mana trouble. So the combination that I told you, right? I'm going to throw down my big blizzard, kite all these enemies, then throw my ice shower, which is a long, like, icicles, right? To kite them. Then they get frozen there for like 1.5 seconds or 1 second, right? You want to switch because there's no tabbing, right? There's no like working both of them together. You switch to your other attacking weapon or your weapon, and you hit your pillar of fire, and then you hit your dot, and I'm out of mana. I have no mana, so I'm sitting there, and the crappy thing is that it costs mana or focus. They call it focus in the game, to auto attack. Even a basic attack and a powered, you can power it up and shoot it. So you can see my frustration. My basic auto attacks take mana. Everything takes mana. And when you do your combos or try and use both weapons, it's impossible. Now, if you keep on one weapon, you don't have any mana problems. But it's quite boring and redundant because you're really only using 2 abilities. Using your Q and your E for, if you're playing ice, and then your R if you really need mana, or you're in oh shit moment, you can ice block and then kind of push them back. Or if you're in your fire thing, you could do Q, E, and R, which is your fire torpedo thing. But still, it gets kind of redundant. I wish there was better, like I said, utilization for dual weaponization. Like I said, some kind of button or combo that you could hit so you could do both, or some kind of thing that in the game you could be like a fire and ice attack. Who knows, right? Or you charge up to it. I don't know. Something they could have came up with better. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, the ledges and glitches for those. So besides the errors and issues I've had with that and the combat system, if you don't want to fight anything, just climb up on an edge. If you want to loot a box, it is very simple now to go around and loot boxes and climb up an edge and walk through the whole tower, which I'll say in a second here. So there's these towers that they want you to go climb all the way to top, right? And there's edges that you can crawl on top and on the edge, like the edge before you jump off the tower, right? If you crawl on that little edge here, it actually will despawn all aggro as long as they don't have bow and arrow. And I'll talk about the mobs in a second. So you literally could sit on an edge, nothing will attack you, and you could, if you had enough DPS or had enough people, to be honest with you, and you all sat on that ledge, and it is an ability, in New World that does this, and you could actually nuke something down or you hide behind a box. There's all kinds of glitches. It shouldn't be this way, but there is, right? Especially since this game came out and had a closed beta, open beta, closed beta before it was released. And it got so much hype, I'm just kind of like, should you have just waited for the game? Just waited on the game. But besides the point, to continue on with the issues and arguments and things, mobs and just the different abilities these mobs do is slim to none. There is 5 mobs, and I'm being nice about this when I can say there's 5 mobs. I'm not including any of the animal mobs. One thing I want to say about the animal mobs, for some odd reason, if you ever played World of Warcraft, you know how they have silver elites and gold elites and all those different elites. For some odd reason, the game, New World made all the alligators in the game silver elites. It doesn't matter if you're level 20 or level 50. They're all silver elites, and they're a pain in the ass. They're not easy to kill, in my opinion. And they do this double attack. Even when running from them, they catch up to you, and they do this double attack, so they'll chomp off the side. I keep hitting the mic, I'm sorry. Chomp off the side and then chomp the other way and hit you every time with the second chomp. And you're like, why? It's just annoying, especially if you're running with them. So New World has addressed this issue, but hasn't really fixed the issue when it comes to these mobs. When I say there's like 5 different mobs, and like I said, being generous. So the first mob and the first thing that you're going to interact with is the zombie-looking mobs. They're zombie, literally looking like zombies. One charges at you, one throws shit at you, and I don't mean like actual poop. It's more like a vial or orange vial thing. They throw an orange vial at you, and then if you're lucky, there's like this bat-looking bird thing that like hits you, charges you, and hits you, and then it charges up an attack and screeches at you and disorients you. That's your main mob. They level up with you, and you'll see them throughout the game. I still have not seen a different mob like that, and I'm level 48. You see them at level 10, you see them at level 30, you see them at level 20, and level 40. I'm assuming you're going to see them at 50. The second mob that I'm seeing more of now and just kind of taking over the whole game is the skeleton-looking mobs. That's the same thing pretty much. You have the ones that have a sword or a spear or a bow and arrow, right? And they have some armor on them. They're these like glowy skeletons, and they hit you with the sword, and blah blah blah, right? And then they have a skeleton that's also got their legs cut off. These guys crawl you and then like leap at you once, but they're very easy to kill and they don't do a lot of damage. But that's your skeleton mobs. That's your 2 mobs. Your third one is, like I said, I'm not counting any of the animals. Your third one is your ghostly pirate thing. So these are on your edges usually, more like the water. And you always run into them like once throughout not the storyline, but the quests usually send you there once. It's usually on the shores or the edges of the water, and they all do the same shit too. They have a shield and a gun, or a shield and a sword. Then they charge at you, and then there's like one elite one that's on the ship, and all the general. Even though the game's very beautiful and been designed beautifully, a lot of the common areas for where the mobs are and what you have to do is all the basic same stuff. And I'm not saying that's like different in any MMO. World of Warcraft was the same thing. Kill 4 boars or 5 boars, go back, turn in the quest. Go over here, kill this, turn in the quest. Bring me 5 sausages, whatever, right? It's all the same, but it's like at least they had like different mobs for different areas. And yes, there were some similarity mobs, and there's only so much you could do similarity-wise. But it's like these pirates. Oh, and they throw the bombs. There's in the pirate one, they do throw bombs. They're like, ah, but they're not, like I said, the main things. The main quests that I always run into, and everywhere you go, are the skeleton mobs. The skeleton / zombie-looking mobs. The pirate mobs are just kind of off the side, more for like ploy thing. You're like, oh. And I'm combining these 3. See, I'm not even coming up with 5. These 4. The fourth one I'm combining is the spirit one. It's these ghostly spirits that the white one charges at you. It's like supposed to be like a windy kind of a spirit kind of ordeal. And then you have the yellow one, which shoots an electric bomb at you, and then does like an AoE electric thing. That's pretty much all your mobs. So New World's solution to this, or Amazon's solution, I should say, to this was like, we're going to keep the same mobs, but we're going to add a special ability at the bottom. What do I mean by that? So you'll be running through, and they're not even in the main mobs from what I've seen so far. So you'll be running through randomly, and a skeleton says it will be like slimy or goo or something. I can't remember what it says, but they'll start attacking you, and if you fight it, you can fight it, whatever. But they'll have like goo, like purple goo that drops on the ground and slows you, and you're just like, what? This was actually their solution to this, right? I'm just like, you couldn't come up with something different, like, I don't know, a world boss that you could fight, an invasion thing. And the invasions that you have, they're all like these mysteriously like don't even know how. This is your 5th mob, by the way. Your invasions, which are you go into this area and you need like protection. I forget what it's called now. I'm mind blanking. But shadow protection, some kind of protection. I can't remember. But it winds down and then refreshes, which is weird. But they're all black, and they all do the same thing. They charge at you, attack you, and they're you only see them in the evasion area, the red areas that are like the corruption. Oh, corruption. They're corrupted, and they corrupt everything around it, and then you use your staff to kill the corruption, which is cool. You know, that's how you're going to get your gear, most of your gear anyway. But continuing on with all that, the last thing I'm going to say with the combat system is that it's just not good overall. It's like there's some wonky things. PvP wise, I don't do too much PvP, so I could probably say one way or another there's broken things I'm sure that are in PvP that need to be fixed. But mob wise, I wish you would come up with something different. I don't know, some kind of world boss that spawns or something that it's just not the same thing, because it's always the same elites too. It's always a wolf elite in a different higher level, like a silver elite in a cave, and it's not even important. Like sometimes a quest leads you to that, and it's just like a pain in the ass. Talking about silver elites, for some odd reason, they're like like I've been running into more silver elites when you have to go kill like a certain boss. It's like, go kill this guy, and they're a silver elite. Now, they're not hard if you're in the same level, or a level like 1, maybe 2 levels lower, you could get away with it. But if you're significantly out-leveled, like 3 levels, like I've been having little trouble lately. So I'm like 3 levels, I'm kind of like on that edge, 3, maybe 4 levels. You're going to have a hard time. You can kite them around, but it's most likely you're going to need to get somebody to help you, especially with me. I'm squishy, and if they get on top of me, they start beating the crap out of me. Even some of the ledge glitches you can get away with, but those don't always work. So to each his own with that, right? Continuing on, glitches and stuff is quest glitch. I had this game a month later, and there was a few things that Amazon has done, like I said, to fix these things, but some of the things just don't seem like the game's complete or even done. And I think they rushed it because of such a hype and so much, like, it just blew up out of nowhere kind of thing, because you really don't know what's going to, like, catches people's attention, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, what? This is great, this is insane, like I said at the beginning, right? So I would get quests. One specific thing is there's a specific area quest. You walk into an area and it'll like pop up a quest, and you actually can check my stream VOD. It's Stanley the Rabbit. I'll tell you the quest every time. I walk into this area and it pops up the area quest, and you press J for your journal to see what the hell the quest is, and it is blank. There is no, it's just error code. I don't know if this was like just implemented in, or if it's just because of this patch, but I've went there, I've restarted the thing, it never works. It's basically, you got to kill Stanley the Rabbit, because you can pet him. You can pet this rabbit, or you can kill it. You kill it, this elemental spawns, and you fight this like I said, one of the charging white elementals that is an elite, right? You kill it, and the quest disappears. So I don't know if I ever complete the quest. I don't get any XP for the quest. I don't know. It's like area quest, and you pop up and you look at the quest and it doesn't tell you. And this is like the second or third area quest that just has not worked. Lower levels, the same thing. This is like, you have to complete this area quest first. And I'm like, what area quest? What am I doing? You have to do this quest before you can do the area quest. I'm like, what quest? Where do I get that quest, right? It doesn't help you at all. It doesn't. It's frustrating. And then there's certain quests that I would do, side quests, because they give you actually a level gap. You cannot complete your main quest if you're not at a certain level. So if you out level your main quest, you're actually going to have to then do side quests or do town boards and all that shit to get to the main. You're level up, and then once you're hit a certain level, like right now I have to hit level 50 before continuing on with my main quest. because I guess I was out leveling it too fast, right? And I'm level 48, so I've been this happened like when I was level 42. So for fucking 8 levels, I can't do the main quest. I can't continue on to the main area or the main quest, and it's very frustrating in my opinion because I'm more of a main quest. I'm like, get these quests done, get the main quest done, complete the game, right? And then all the side stuff I'll do if I want to do, right? Kind of like I'm not like, ooh, side quest, ooh. Like, that's why I never was good at Skyrim, because I was like, all right, run to the main quest. I do the main quest, and I get to the other island, right, where the dragons are, and the 2 fighting dragons that you have to fight, and I'm getting my ass whooped. I didn't, I'll be honest, I never passed it. Never passed that part. And I was like, I'm not restarting. I had like, I don't even know how many hours because I was like running around a lot, and I was like, I ran around, and you can't get back to the other island now, and you just fucking teleported in. I was mad, okay? I was mad. Besides the point, uh, it's just these quests. The quest is just over and over again. I have these issues, and I don't know why. A lower level quest, there's a quest I remember, and I would look up on YouTube and look up the quest, and I was like, all right, I'm doing the quest. I'm in the quest area, and there's a quest helper, and the thing glows. It'll glow when you're in the area, and it'll pop up what you need to do. It glows. It pops up. I loot the chest, and this has happened with a few quests for some odd reason. You loot it, and you never get the item. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe something was supposed to pop up. Maybe I did it too fast. Maybe I'm killing things too fast. And I'm sitting there, I'm like killing a bunch of mobs, and fucking sitting there, and I loot the box, and I'm fucking, I abandon the quest, get the quest again, restart the game, do the game, blah blah blah. Nothing. YouTube it, doing the same exact thing the YouTube video did. Never complete some of the quest. Oh, sorry. Never complete some of the quest. Irritating as hell. I don't know why, and it still happens, and it's frustrating. I'm trying to wrap this up because I'm looking at the time. I'm like, nobody's going to listen to me 30 minutes rant. So moving forward, the last thing I'm going to add to this is New World, I think, rushed the game, and this is happening with a lot of games. Games are just incomplete. New World feels like one of those games that are incomplete. There's things that they added the game that I think could have came out with a launch if you just waited longer. I mean, if they waited till like Christmas time, like now, like December, you could have easily probably doubled your profits or had more people come out with a game or buy the game right off the bat instead of like, oh, it's Halloween or right before like September, right before Halloween, all this jazz. So I don't know if they rushed. It feels incomplete. The end game of the content, from what I've talked to and people that have played the game that are level 60, don't even play the game anymore. There's nothing to do in the game. If you're a big PvPer though, and you like wars and raids and all that stuff, when I say raids, I'm like talking about PvP raids. This is your game. World PvP. This is your game. If you like wars and invasions, PvP stuff, this is going to be your game level 60. If you plan on playing this game and you're like, I'm going to be the top raider, I'm going to get the top gear, good luck. Have fun, because that's not going to be the case. I didn't get to cover everything, I know. If you could, leave me some feedback. Would you actually like to see some gameplay in these videos, or do you just like to hear me talk? Do you load up the video and listen to me rant about something and then just call it a day? I appreciate it either way. If you could leave a like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, I really, really appreciate it. I have to say these things because of YouTube. Other than that, I know I didn't cover everything. I didn't cover professions and all that stuff. And I know I'm not level 60, but this game is just frustrating, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get to level 60, but I'm still trying to get there. Thank you all for listening to my rant. Appreciate it. You guys all have a good one, and until next time, guys.